Today, you're going to be making a Duplo Lego brick, just like this. Now, the thing about Lego bricks is that in order for them to work, they all have to be exactly the same. They're made to exact measurements. And if they weren't, of course, they wouldn't click together and you wouldn't be able to build with them. So for this lesson, it's really important that we actually work with exact measurements. So let's get started. Now, the first thing you need to do is go to the Home menu and choose Create New, but use the little drop down here because we need to make sure that we're working with millimeters. Otherwise, you're going to end up with an absolutely enormous Duplo brick. Now this time, I'm actually going to leave the man there, and that's going to help us just to see the sense of scale here. When I actually create the Duplo brick, you'll see just how small it is. So I'm going to hit R on the keyboard to get the rectangle tool. I'm just going to scroll on the wheel just to zoom in a little bit. Single click, start moving the mouse, and then let go. Because what I'm going to do before I click to finish drawing my rectangle, I'm actually going to type in the measurements that I want. And if you look at the bottom right of the screen, you'll see them as I type. So I want 64 millimeters, comma, 32 millimeters. And then go ahead and hit enter. And you'll see just how small this is. And feel free to use the scroll wheel to zoom in a bit more. The next thing we're going to do is use the push-pull tool, that's P on the keyboard. Click to start, lift it up a little bit and then let go. But don't click again, because what we're going to do is, just like we did before, type in the measurement that we want. And in this case, it's 20 millimeters, 2 centimeters. So that's the basic block shape of our Duplo brick. Now the next thing we need to do, we want to make sure that the 8 studs that we create are all positioned correctly. There's no point just drawing them wherever you like, because you need to make sure that all the bricks are going to click together properly. So to do that, what we're going to do is actually use the tape measure tool. So first of all, I'm going to press O, that's the orbit tool, just so I can look kind of at the top of the brick like this. Now switch to the tape measure, T, and what I need to do is add a guide that is 8 millimeters from each edge. So it works like this. You click, move the mouse. Now I could let go and type 8 and press enter, but I can just as easily look at the number in the bottom right there and just go, there we go, that's 8. So click, let's do the same thing from this side. Make sure it's definitely 8, and this side 8, and also here 8. Now I also need to add a second one from the top here that is 24, and from the bottom here that is 24. Just like that. And if you look, you can now see these points here, these intersections where the guides are crossing over, that is actually going to be the center points for our 8 studs. Let's switch to the circle tool, that's C. Just going to zoom in a little bit. Click on the intersection, start moving the mouse, and you can see we're drawing the circle. Again, I could let go and type in the number, but it's just as easy to look at the bottom there. I want 5. And I need to repeat this 5 times. I need to make sure I've got 8 studs that are all 5 millimeters. I'm going to use the hand tool, that's H. That allows me to just move around and look around my object, maybe zoom a little bit. Back to the circle tool, C. Click, 5 millimeters, click, click, 5 millimeters, click, 5 millimeters, click, 5 millimeters, and click. And then I've just got these 2 left to do. Circle tool, 5 millimeters and 5 millimeters, just like that. Now the next thing we need to do is use the push-pull tool to lift each of these studs up. So if you're lifting things up, it's not a good idea to lift towards you. It's far better to angle the object and look more from the side. Much easier to push-pull up. So P, push-pull, I'm going to click this face here, lift my mouse up, and I need this to be 3 millimeters. And they all need to be the same. 3 millimeters, 3 millimeters, 3, and use the hand tool here. Push-pull again. 3, 3, 3, and 3. Now we could just leave it as it is, but a Duplo brick actually doesn't look like this. There's a kind of ridge that goes around each of these studs. The middle bit should be pushed down, so we're going to do that as well. So I'm going to use my orbit tool just to look on the top of one of my studs a bit more. So to create this effect, what we're going to do is use the offset tool, that's F on the keyboard. And all you need to do is click the edge of one of your studs, move the mouse in towards the center, and we do need this to be exact, so I'm going to let go and type 1. And I need to repeat that for each of them. So make sure I'm definitely on the edge, it turns blue. Click, move in, type 1, and then press enter. So let's do this one. Click, move in, let go of the mouse, press 1, and enter. And then this one on the edge. Oh, see, I missed it there. Don't make that mistake. I'm just going to hit escape. There we go. So let's try again. Click, let go, 1, and enter. Let's go to H, the hand tool, just to move along a little bit. Back to F, the offset tool. Click, move in, 1, and enter. Click, move in, 1, enter. So I missed it again. It happens. Hit escape. There it is. 1, and enter. 1, and enter. And now we can use the push-pull tool to push these middle bits down. So back to the push-pull tool. Now notice how it's not selecting the faces properly. So sometimes this happens in SketchUp, where I want to be able to select this face and push it down, but it's not highlighting it. Now if this happens to you, all you need to do is press the space bar to go to the selection tool, and now you can click to select. So I'm going to select this face, back to the push-pull tool, click, and I want to push it back down 3 millimeters. And you can see again, it's not letting me select the face over here. So all I need to do, I'm going to hit escape, come out of that, back to the selection tool, click the face that I want, P for push-pull, and then push it down 3 millimeters. Spacebar, select this face, P for the push-pull tool, and 3 millimeters. Spacebar, select this face, P for push-pull, and 3 millimeters. H for the hand tool, and let's repeat it for these 4 as well. Spacebar, select, P for push-pull, down 3 millimeters. Spacebar, select, P for push-pull, and 3 millimeters. And then 2 more to go. P for push-pull, 3 millimeters. Spacebar, select, P for push-pull, and down 3 millimeters. And now if I zoom out, hand tool, orbit tool, we now have a Duplo brick. Now at this point, what we want to do is actually erase all of the guidelines that we've created. So I'm going to go to the eraser, that's the E key on the keyboard, and you can simply click each of the guides that you've made to erase them. And you can kind of just drag across them like this to delete. And that's it, that's our finished Duplo brick. And you can see just how small it is compared to the man. Now, the next thing we're going to do is colour in our Duplo brick. Now, the way that we're going to do this is to first of all select all of the brick. So if I press spacebar, you'll see that single clicking selects individual parts of the brick. But if you do a triple click, so really quickly click, 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 it will select all of the faces of your object. And then what you can do is right click and choose Make Group. And now this is kind of treated as one object, so I can get the whole thing with a single click. I'm going to tap B on the keyboard to open up the materials. Over here I'm going to use the little browse icon, and I'm going to open up the colors section because there's loads of colors to choose from. And I'm going to choose yellow and just click it like that. So that's my one basic brick done. Let's have a few more bricks though, so let's just hide that panel. What I'm going to do is use the Move tool, that's M on the keyboard, and if I just click this corner, I can move the block, and then I can just click to put it back like that. But if I do the same thing again, so click the corner, move the mouse, but on the keyboard tap the Control key, that switches the Move tool into duplicate mode. So now I can actually add a second Duplo brick. And what I want to do is actually make sure it's positioned correctly. I'm going to grab this corner instead, click, and line it up perfectly with the one that's already there. Click, just like that. And if you want this to be a different color, then we can swing open the colors panel again. That's B on the keyboard for bucket. Choose red. Now if I click this, you'll see that the whole thing turns red. Sometimes you find that that doesn't work and it's really annoying. So there is a little trick. If you find that you're clicking your grouped Lego brick and it's not changing color, then what you want to do is go to the selection tool, that's the space bar, and you want to double click the group to open the group up and then triple click to select everything. And it will then allow you to use the bucket tool to color everything in. And then simply back to the selection tool and click away. And now you can see I've got myself 2 Duplo bricks. So the next thing you could do from here is to create a wall of bricks. So if I go back to the move tool and click, hit Control, I could place one of the bricks very carefully at the halfway point. You'll see it snap, that midpoint there. And you could imagine quite easily building a wall using this technique where you just stack them up. Now we can also rotate our Duplo bricks. So let me show you what that looks like. Let's just move over here, get a bit of room. So I'm going to use the move tool again, and I'm just going to click, hit Control, and I'm just going to move one of them over here. So what I'm going to do is show you how to rotate this one here. So to bring up the rotate tool, you press Q on the keyboard. And the way that this works, first of all, you need to make sure that the protractor on the screen, that's that large circular thingy, it's blue at the moment. When I hover over that pivot point, this is the point that I want to pivot on. And you just need to make sure that it is definitely blue when you do this. You don't want it to be green like that. And if you find that you hovered over the corner but it just won't turn blue, you can actually press the up arrow on the keyboard and the down arrow to kind of toggle between them. Make sure it's blue. And all you need to do is click the pivot point. So that's the point I want to rotate around. Then you want to click the point that you're actually going to grab and move. And now you can see I can pivot the object around that point. And in the bottom right corner, you can see the angle that I'm moving it. And what I want is 90 degrees, like that. Now I can switch back to the move tool. I can grab this corner here and I can line it up with that corner. And using this technique, you could quite easily create yourself a little tower with 4 walls, maybe a little castle. See what you can do.